In the previous class, we have already seen about the consolidating data, creating subtotals. We have seen the what if analysis tools. We have seen what are scenarios. We have seen what is goal seek and solver. We will now be starting with the second unit, the second topic of this particular unit 2, electronic spreadsheet. That is setting up multiple sheets, creating reference to other sheets, and by using keyboard and mouse, referencing what is hyperlinking. So this unit we will be covering today, but we will do it in such a way that you understand all the concepts, all the topics. So let's go back to spreadsheet. The first topic over here is setting up multiple sheets, creating reference to other sheets using keyboard and mouse. So by default, if you look at one calc workbook, we call it as a workbook, and in that workbook there are worksheets. Workbook has got worksheets. One workbook normally has 3 worksheets which are by default. Okay, so you will see them over here: sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. They are named as sheet 1, 2, and 3, and you can add as many worksheets as you want. So it is something like your notebook, which has got number of pages inside it. So each page is like a worksheet over here, and your entire notebook is like a workbook over here. So say for example, you have to create say mark sheet for one particular exam, PT1, and mark sheet for PT2 and for half yearly. Then what should be the ideal concept? The ideal concept should be that you are going to open one workbook, which you could name it as results, and within that workbook you have different worksheets. One worksheet for PT1, one worksheet for PT2, and another worksheet for half yearly. But if you're not aware of this concept, then what are you going to do is you're going to create one workbook for PT1, another workbook for PT2, and third workbook for half yearly, which is actually waste of resources. So you don't require different workbooks like that. If it is to do with the same thing, if the domain of working is the same, you should just create one workbook, and within that create number of sheets. There are different ways for adding worksheets. One is by just right clicking on any of the worksheets. So for example, worksheet 3, I right click on that and then I go to insert sheet, and then you can specify the position of it, whether you want it before the current sheet or after the current sheet. Suppose I want it after the current sheet, so I'll just click on after current sheet. How many worksheets do I want? I just want one, and I can specify the name. If I don't specify the name, by default, depending upon how many worksheets are there, it's automatically going to give the name as sheet 4, sheet 5, sheet 6, like that. Since there are 3 worksheets already, the new worksheet is going to be sheet 4. But if you want to give the name, you can give the name over here. So this is for class 11H, and I click on OK. So this creates a new worksheet called class 11H, which is after the current worksheet. So that's one method I've shown you. Second method is if you just click on this, the blank area, the empty area which is there after the sheets. If you're going to click over there, then also you will get the same kind of a space, and you can click on before or after. So I want it after the current sheet, and I can give this as. So inserting 2 methods I've shown you. Third method is by clicking on insert and then click on sheet. So this is the third method of inserting. So I'm giving the name as class 10B and OK. Now there is one more way, that is inserting from a particular file. Now this is what I'm doing is I'm inserting the sheets from within the same workbook, and I'm inserting new worksheets. But what if I want to insert an already created worksheet which is part of another workbook? So I can easily do that just clicking over here, and you will find that there's an option called from file. So if you click on from file, you can browse and then insert a particular sheet from another file also. So you can just go to the place where you have created other files and insert a worksheet from there. Suppose I'll take it from this class 10A. The moment I click on that class 10A, it shows that there are 3 worksheets in that class 10A. So I can select any worksheet from there and insert it. Now, what is there in that class 10A worksheet? Class 10A worksheet, workbook. So I go to my folder and class 10. Fine. So there are details over here in this particular, this we had created for mail merge, right? So there are details of students over here, which we had created. So we are going to get this detail in the new worksheet which we are creating. So sheet 1 we will take and then we'll click on OK. Now, if we are just going to click on sheet 1 and then click on OK, it's going to just insert that sheet from there and insert it over here. But there is one option over here. You can see the link option. This link option. If you're going to click on this link option and then click on OK, then it is going to create a link for you. So I'm just going to click on this link and then click on OK. Update all links. Yes. So what I've done is I have inserted that sheet from 10th A and I have created a link over here. So now you can see that this is my, on the right hand side is my original file, which has got this particular information. And from that file, I have inserted the sheet over here as a link sheet. Let me remove this formatting from here so that you can easily see the details. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this particular file, the original file which was there. And I'm going to, fine. And I'm going to save this new file also. So I click on File and I click on Save As. Session 2. Now this is the name which I've given. In the original one, if I'm changing from Amulya to Nakshatra, and I save the changes over here. So what will happen is, this bar is coming in between. I click on File and then I save the changes. Now, what is going to happen is that those same changes will get reflected over here in the linked file also. So since I have already made the changes and I have saved it, now over here, this particular file which is there, right now it is open. So I'm just going to close it now for you. See, right now over here, this is Amulya, the third student. I'm closing this file which I created, and now I'm going to open it once again. That was session 2. So this is session 2. Now it is going to ask you update all links, because I have inserted a sheet which is coming from another file and it is linked. So you will always get this message, update all links. The moment you click on yes, it's going to update all the links which are created. Now, this file contains links to other files. Should they be updated? Click on yes. Now, on the right hand side, I will keep the other file open for you so that you can see. So this is Nakshatra and that other file which I've made the changes. This is the file where I've linked the page, but the links are not updated as yet. Now I'm clicking on yes. The moment I click on yes, all the changes which I did over there are now reflected over here. So you can see the change of name over here. This is the advantage of it. So suppose you have created one particular file and you're getting the data from that file, which is linked. Whatever changes you do over there, you don't have to worry that you have to make changes at 10 other places. If they are all linked, it will automatically reflect those changes at the 10 places. So that's one. Now let's move on to the another concept. Changing the name of the sheet. So if you want to change the name of the sheet, you just have to right click on that particular sheet. And then there's an option called rename sheet. So you can just click on rename sheet and it will change the name of the sheet. You can give this name as class 5 and click on OK. So the name of the sheet has been changed. Another way for changing the name of the sheet is by double clicking on that particular sheet. So if you're going to double click on that sheet, you will also get the same renaming sheet option. So you can give this as class 6. I've changed the name. This third method of changing the name, that is by clicking on this particular sheet and then going to format, go to sheet, and then there is an option called rename, and you can change the name over here. So you can give it as class 7A and click on OK. So you have renamed the sheet. So that's the second. Now third, sometimes we want this tab to be in different color for different class or for different sections. So you can do that. You can just click on that particular tab, that particular sheet, right click on that, and then you can change the color of the tab. So there's an option called tab color. Click on that tab color and you can select any color from here and click on OK. So that's the color of my tab now. Tab color, third class, tab color, and you can change the tab color. So you will find that there are different colors for each tab. Now let's move on to the next. The next topic is referencing. What do you mean by referencing? Now, when we talk about referencing, there are, I'm just going to delete all this. There are two types of referencing. There are two types of referencing. One is called as absolute, and the other one is called as relative. Now, what is relative referencing and what is absolute referencing? Relative referencing is done with the help of the address of the cell. Now, if you, since you already know about what calc is, what is a spreadsheet, but just a quick reminder, just a quick revision, that a spreadsheet is made up of rows and columns. So these are all the rows which you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and A, B, C, D, these are the columns. Every column has got an address, which you can see over here as A, B, C, D, E. And every row has got an address which is numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, the intersection of this row and column, wherever that intersects, that particular area is called as a cell. Each cell has got a specific address. Two cells cannot have the same address. So for example, if I've got this particular cell, now the address of this particular cell is first the name of the column, followed by the name of the row, label of the column and label of the row. So the cell address of this particular cell will be B8. This is called as the cell address. This is called as a relative cell address. Relative cell address means something which will change automatically along with the column and the rows. So if I'm going to talk about this particular cell, what is the cell address of this? The cell address is B10. Then, so what is the cell address of this particular cell? It is E4. Then we come down to the absolute. In absolute cell reference, we always put a $sign in front of the row or the column, whichever we want to keep it fixed. So suppose I want to keep the row number fixed, I will put a $sign in front of row. If I want to keep the column address fixed, I will put a $sign in front of the column. So absolute cell references are always done with the help of a $sign. So if I want column to be fixed, I will put $E, and if I want row to be fixed, I will put $3. Then there is something called as mixed referencing. Mixed referencing means where one of the row or column is fixed, but the other one is free. It's relative. So if I keep the address as E and $4, then I am referring to the column which can keep changing from E to F, G, H, I, but the row will always be referred to row number 4. Row number will not change. So that's called as mixed referencing. Now, let's see what do we mean by this and how does it actually work. If I'm talking about absolute cell referencing, then say for example over here, I'm writing the number as 10 and over here I'm writing the number as 5. So over here in this example, if I write a formula, I'll write all the formulas in Excel or Calc always start with a equal to sign. So I'm writing equal to over here, equal to, what is the address of this particular cell which I want to use for calculation? I want to add the value of 10 and 5. I want to add that and then get the final value. So what is the address of this particular cell where 10 is? The address of this cell is B7. B is the, if you click on over there, you will be able to get it. I'm not clicking over there because I want to show you with the keyboard. So I start with equal to, and then I write B, and then row number is 7. That's the cell address of 10 plus 5. What is the cell address of 5? The cell address of 5 is C7, and I press enter. So this gives me the answer 15. But right now, this is what kind of referencing I've done over here? I have done relative referencing. Relative referencing is where we are not keeping the row and column fixed. So what is going to happen is, see over here, on the next line, I'm writing 11, 12, and 13. And over here, I'm writing 3 and 4. So what is going to be the answer? 10 plus 1 is 11. You get the answer over there, 11. Now the second one is 11 plus 2 should be 13. Now if I'm going to copy this particular formula, which I've written over here, and there are two different ways. You can just click on this and then copy by Control C, and then wherever you want this formula, you can just select that range and then press Control V. The second way is that you can just click on the fill handle which you have. I suppose everyone knows this. So if you click on this fill handle, you can just drag this and it will copy the formula for you. I'm just taking away the formula from here for better understanding, and I'm putting it over here. Total relative. So you get the answer for the others also. 11 plus 2 is 13. That's correct. 12 plus 3 is 15. That's also correct. 13 plus 4 is 17. That is also correct. But what was the formula we had written? We had written B7 plus C7. Now, if you go and see the other cell, you will find that it has automatically changed to B8 plus C8. If you go to the next one, it has changed to B9 plus C9. If you go to the next, it is B10 plus C10. So what is happening is it's automatically changing according to the row which you are referring to, because we had used relative cell referencing. When we use absolute cell referencing, the concept is going to be different. So I'm using the total by using absolute. In absolute cell referencing, we can keep the values fixed. So I'm saying equal to $B plus $B7 $B7 plus $C $7. See, we are talking about this. This particular cell is B7 and this is C7. And I'm using the absolute cell referencing, that is $B $7 and $C $7, which means I'm not talking about the relative, I'm talking about absolute. And I press enter. You get the same answer, right? Now, I'm just going to copy this formula down over here. When you copy the formula, what happens? What is the result? 11. Because we are using the absolute cell referencing, it does not change as we copy down the formula. You will find that in the formula bar, the address, the referencing remains the same. It is $B $7. It did not change with the changing of rows because we use the absolute cell referencing. Add marks. What marks I want to add? I want to add 5 marks. To what? To whatever is the total which the student has got, to that you have to add 5 marks. So what I'm doing is, this is my final total over here. And in this final total, what I want is equal to this value which is there. What is this value? If you're not using keyboard, you can just click on that particular cell. So by using mouse, if you click on this, it's going to automatically take the value for you, the reference for you. Plus, what do you want to do? You want to add with this and press enter. So you get 11 plus 5 is 16. Now you want to copy the same formula for the other students also. So you just drag and copy it. Now what happens? You get 13. This should have been 13 plus 5. It did not change. This is 15. This should have been 15 plus 5, 20. This is 17, but we are getting exactly 17, right? So your formula should have been different over here. See what is changing over here. The column is not changing. The row is changing. If you go to the next one, you will find that the row is changing. It is becoming A8. If you go to the next, it is becoming A9. Next, it is becoming A10. So the column is not changing, only the row is changing. But I want to keep that row also fixed. So the formula should have been $7. That means don't change the row. Keep the row fixed. Now, if I'm going to copy this particular formula, you will find that I get the correct answer. Because now this time, it did not change the row. It kept it as $7. It was referring to this particular cell only. So this referencing which I've used over here is called as mixed referencing. In mixed referencing, one of the value is fixed, the other value keeps changing. If you want to keep the row fixed, you will put the $sign before the row. If you want to keep the column fixed, you will put the $sign before the column. And if you want to keep both rows and column fixed, that means that particular cell as fixed, then you will put $sign before row and before column also. So that's called as cell referencing. Now, I'm deleting all this. Cell referencing can be done within that particular sheet, as I showed you over here. And it can also be done with another sheet which is there in the same workbook. Or it could be done with another sheet which is from another workbook also. That's also possible. So let's quickly see these examples. For example, I've got something over here that is name of the student and marks of the students. So in this, I'm giving the marks as English, and name of the student is A, B, C, and D. These are 4 students which I've got. And I'm just going to copy this data from here and I'll paste it onto the other sheet also. And this I will change it to Hindi. I'll copy the same data and move to the next sheet and paste it over here, and I will change it to science. So there are 3 subjects which I've got. In the first sheet, I've got the marks of English for the same students. So 56, 45, 87, and 58. Then I'll go to the next sheet and I have got this data. Then I go to the next sheet, and for science, these are the marks. These are the marks for science. I'm on this particular sheet where I want the total. But if you look at this, what I've done is I have kept the marks of all the students in different sheets. So you've got marks of English on one particular sheet. You've got marks of Hindi on another sheet. You've got marks of science on another sheet. Over here, what I want is I want the total. I want the total of English, Hindi, and science. Now, English is on one sheet, Hindi is on another sheet, and science is on another sheet. And I want all those totals to come over here. Just a minute. This is total. Now, if you're using keyboard, you can just write the values like this, equal to. Now, where are the marks of Hindi? They are on the sheet class 5. So you will first write down the name of the sheet over here, class 5 dot, then which particular cell. Now, if you go to class 5, and you will find that the marks of English are in cell B3. So I will write down B3 plus. Now, the next subject is coming from class 6 B3. So I will write class 6 dot B3. Okay, so you get 206 as the answer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the same formula down to rest of them. Now, since I used relative referencing, it's going to easily calculate according to the other students. The other student got 45 in English, 65 in Hindi, and 34 in science. So his total is 144. Now this is referring to that particular cell. That means if I'm going to make any changes in these cells, it's going to automatically change it for the final cell also. So this is doing referencing with the help of the keyboard. So what I showed just now was by using the keyboard referring to the cells of different sheets, not only on the same sheet, but of different sheets. Now this was using the keyboard. Now I'm going to use with the mouse. So total with mouse. Same formula, equal to, from where you're going to get, you will go to class 5 and you will click on this particular cell, plus go to the class 6, click on this particular cell, plus go to class 7, click on this particular cell, and come back to this particular class. You will find that the formula has already come, and just press enter. So you will find that this is referencing other cells of the sheets by using mouse. Okay, so we have done it with the keyboard and we have done it with the mouse, both the things.